When recreational pot is legalized in Minnesota in just over a week, some wonder what that will do to the medical cannabis community. Carla Holt shows us where medical marijuana is now and why some expect a surge in interest.
This little piece of garden used to be just straight grass.
In her St. Louis Park patchwork of flora and fauna,
That color I just really love.
Tracy Tessier finds her peace.
A typical English garden. I feel I'm a little bit at home when I'm sitting here.
And peace
I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer.
is the pursuit to which Tracy gives her utmost attention.
I'm technically stage 4 because it's spread. So far my options are going to be, chemo or some kind of infusions for the rest of my life.
A life this 55-year-old former teacher wants to keep cherishing, alongside her husband, 3 daughters, and 6 grandchildren under the age of 6.
That's so important for me mentally and physically to feel like I can run after a kid if I need to, and even they make me go down the slide sometimes. You have to be able to.
Which is why when chemotherapy for Tracy turned unbearable,
It made me very, very nauseous.
Tracy turned to an option she'd once considered unorthodox.
Lots of people had said to me, you should try medical cannabis at the time. So I looked into it and thought, well, it's worth a try.
And while Tracy's wariness waned, interest in the state's overall medical cannabis program soared.
In that first year, we had less than 1,000 patients, but today we have about 40,000 patients.
As the research manager in the state's Office of Medical Cannabis, David Rock says medical cannabis use has jumped dramatically the last few years. First in 2020, when the state added chronic pain as a qualifying condition, and then again in 2021, when the state allowed cannabis to be sold as a flower.
That means it's smokable for patients, and a lot of patients prefer that method.
But now, with the legalization of recreational cannabis use, the medical cannabis office is bracing for a new era.
I think the medical cannabis program is just going to flourish.
Flourish, experts say, because they believe patients will still seek the medical advice and safety within the medical cannabis program. Medical cannabis also costs less given it's completely tax-free and is available to people of all ages. And perhaps best of all, experts say, program participants will still contribute to research, which in turn could help quantify the cannabis benefits, leading to future coverage and better treatment. And better treatment
I see the devastation that cancer brings to patients.
is the mission of Dr. Dylan Zilla.
Obviously, it's oftentimes a terminal diagnosis and it's devastating in that way. But then to see some of the suffering and the symptoms that patients have to endure.
As the medical director of the Health Partners Cancer Research Center, Zilla first explored alternatives to opioids in 2012 in a national clinical trial of a cannabis product. 4 years later, he formed a work group with leaders from the state health department, University of Minnesota, even the cannabis industry. Together, they reviewed the data of 1,100 cancer patients enrolled in the medical cannabis program.
They reported multiple benefits in pain, nausea, insomnia, anxiety scores.
Today, Zilla still studies the effects of cannabis on the cancer journey.
We're kind of trying to become pioneers.
But the oncologist who's long focused on the person also wanted a place where patients can ask questions and find factual answers.
In 2021, we created the Cannabis Education and Research Clinic, and that was basically to provide one-on-one personalized education and treatment dosing guidelines about how to safely and effectively use medical cannabis.
And as more patients seek medical advice for medical cannabis use, Zilla expects this outreach will only expand.
It really was to try to give my patients hope, right? I mean, our patients who have a cancer diagnosis, they want hope. They need something to hope for.
They're part of your team and they have your records and they have your medications.
Back in her oasis, Tracy finds comfort in the natural.
It makes me calm and sleepy.
And new.
I found this to be so valuable. Having a little bit of power over your nausea, a little bit of power over how you sleep. The cannabis has been part of that arsenal, that I've used to have a good life.
Growing a good life by giving this grandma the gifts of comfort, time, and family.
It's absolutely saved me, just keeping your mind on these little cuties. And I'm so grateful that I get to actually take part in that.
Dr. Zilla's research continues. He's looking at how cannabis interacts with other cancer drugs, the potential benefit of a CBD cream, and even whether cannabis can kill cancer. Zilla says the jury's still out on that, but patients may be getting the benefit of staying on chemotherapy longer. Zilla's also planning on growing that clinic. We do have information on our website. As for Tracy, she holds on to that hope of a new treatment for her cancer. In the meantime, she's just enjoying time with her family, Julie.
Well, she's just delightful.
Yeah,
just
she
a
is.
delightful woman. Such a wonderful representation of what all of us hold near and dear, right? Is that
Absolutely.
time with family. But we should mention Randy Shaver's Cancer Community Research Fund made a grant to Dr. Zilla.
They absolutely did. And so this new cannabis cancer research clinic that is available for patients is phenomenal. It's really serving them right where they need that service the most. And Randy's fund provided them the money, the capability to buy some of the data, registry, and organization. So really making a difference in that profound way.
Yeah, well, we know so many of you have donated to his cancer foundation, so thank you.
Yeah.
Always doing good work. Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Carla. Good to see you.
You bet. Good to see you.